wish that I could just wish away my feelings, but I can't.
Sand hurts my feelings.
I don't like sand.
Hurts my feelings.
Haunted by fake sand in my very soul. Sand. How you're suffering as much as I am.
Sand hurts my feelings.
Tormenting me. I'm in agony.
Sand hurts my feelings.
I don't like sand.
Hello, and welcome to The Sand Hurts My Feelings, a Star Wars podcast from a Swiftie point of view. I am your host, Alex.
And I am your other host, Sarah.
And today we are talking about TTPD and Leia.
The Tortured Poets Department.
Oh boy.
Alrighty. Before we get too far into this, how you doing, Alex?
I'm doing all right. We're in the holiday spirit, holiday season. We're getting real close to watching the Star Wars Holiday Special for Life Day. So that'll be coming up in a couple days. So that's going to be really nice.
Our annual watch through.
Yep. Annual watch through and celebration of our Life Day. We talked about possibly going through that a little bit. Do we want to discuss that now? What do we do for Life Day?
Yes. I was going to bring that up. So for Life Day, we, again, weather permitting, if it is completely awful outside, we do not go outside. But, you know, barring any torrential rains or blizzard conditions, we do a nature walk. We've done one year we did a state park here in our area. We've done some nature area reserves. Just take some time and reflect. And then I have a copy of both official Star Wars cookbooks. So the one from Galaxy's Edge, and then there's a special Life Day cookbook. So we usually pull a few recipes from those and make those to have ourselves a Star Wars feast.
And then we always usually try to grab something as our main dish that's not something we usually eat. So last year we actually tried the turducken.
Yes, we splurged on turducken.
Splurged on the turducken. It was pretty good, expensive, and a lot of meat.
It was so much meat.
Yeah. So this year we are going to not splurge as much, and we're just going to go with, we discovered that we like duck in Ireland.
Yes.
So we are going to try to do our first duck.
Yeah, we're going to try cooking duck for the first time. We know a couple of grocery stores in our area that have that. So we're looking forward to that, then paired with some Star Wars
themed stuff.
Yes. And then we watch the holiday special after that, and I always request hot chocolate because I love hot chocolate and I will take any opportunity I can to drink it.
Yes. And that usually ends our day. So
yeah, it's
occasionally
a good
we usually give each other a gift or two, so which is nice. But
yes, but yeah, the main focus of the day is getting a good walk and then good food.
And that mental space of celebrating and cherishing life that we have, and what we can do to accentuate that and help others and stuff like that. So
yeah. So we're looking forward to doing that for Life Day. Yeah, so it'll be a good time. We are sad that Eras Tour is over, but also excited for Taylor that Eras Tour is over.
Eras Tour is over.
It'll be honestly kind of nice because my Facebook feed gets a little heavy on the Eras Tour and what people speculate is happening, and it'll be kind of nice to clean that out a little bit.
So bringing up the Eras Tour, I think Taylor is a secret Star Wars fan, as I've brought up before, but she could also be a secret listener of the podcast.
That would make our lives.
That would make our lives if she listened to us, because she, at Toronto night, can't remember which night, but at Toronto's Eras Tour, she did a medley.
For her secret song.
For her secret song, and the piano acoustic song, she did Cassandra, Mad Woman, and I Did Something Bad. 2 of those I picked for Leia, and the third
is my pick for Leia today. So we'll put a pin in that one and get to that later. But Alex and I freaked out because these are all Leia picks and they fit so well together.
Yeah. So we think she's bugged our phones. She's listening. Or she sent a representative to Twin Cities Con because we did announce all of our picks at Twin Cities Con. So maybe she's got a secret person in there.
Yeah, because Cassandra, the others wouldn't have been known yet. But, oh, no, they work so well together, and how you're just listening to her sing Mad Woman and Cassandra and I Did Something Bad. Like, it was great.
It's a great song. I can't wait to own it, and hopefully she releases it on a live version.
Now, yeah, not to get into the speculating thing, but she could do just like a whole album of her mashups.
Oh, no, she's released. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just saying, like, as a additional, she's done that where she's released Eras Tour, like TTPD, and been like, buy it with the live version of this song.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, she's done
okay.
that.
Okay.
I hope she does something.
I try to put up blinders when it comes to Taylor merch because there's a lot of it. It sells out really quickly and it could be really bad for our bank account.
Yes.
Okay. But I know we've already teased or we've already said what song I've picked, but let's take a moment and talk about
TTPD.
Our experience with the Tortured Poets Department.
Yeah. Would you like to go first?
Sure. So we were very excited when she made the announcement at the Grammys that she was dropping an album. We both started our respective countdowns to the album release date, and we intentionally cleared our calendars for that weekend. We're like, we are not going to do anything. Like, this is going to be a weekend dedicated to listening to this album. And it was a very good thing we did that because we got 31 songs, which is a lot to process. And then they are gut-wrenching songs, especially the first time listening through them. And so we just kind of sat in a depression for the weekend of the release, but in a good way of these are such emotionally raw songs. These are such vulnerable, personal songs. And to be able to listen to them. And I will say, we did sit down and listen to all 31 at one time because we made the decision we weren't going to stay up till midnight. We were going to go to bed and to be able to get up right at 7 to go to Target. And so we weren't caught like other people of she dropped a whole nother half of the album and having to stay up till 2, 3 in the morning.
Correct. We actually took the day off.
We did.
That was really nice.
Yes, we did. So sorry, work, but not sorry. It's in the past.
We were lovesick with Taylor.
Yes, so we did. So we went to Target at 7 a.m. and got it and listened to it on the CD. And then we went online and listened to the anthology half.
Yeah.
And yeah. Please jump in at any point.
This is what your experience.
My experience.
I can
That's
add
true.
myself,
Okay.
But this is your experience with Tortured Poets.
Yeah. It took me honestly a really long time to be able to listen to these songs as I'm driving or in the background at work or at home because they just caught me so emotionally. So yeah, I would say for the first dozen or so listens through, I just had to sit down and listen, or I could not do anything else while listening to these songs because how powerful they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're all beautiful, and I'm glad that she released them all. To me, it speaks to how much she was going through and how much she needed to process a number of things. She needed to process a number of things.
Yeah. So my experience with this is, again, very similar to Sarah's in the regard of when we did it. I had a countdown on my board at school to the album release, and my students were all just like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "This is important." So, so it was a very, very interesting. The first time I've taken the day off for a Taylor Swift album, but I think we knew something was going on with this album, with how it was being marketed and how she was doing it and releasing it so quickly and stuff like that. So we knew it was going to be a heavy album going in.
Well, especially with the song titles we got.
That too, yeah, and the song titles. And for me, I know Sarah wasn't as big on this, but I put together she made a playlist of all of her songs on the stages of grief.
Mm-hmm.
And that set me up of okay, I still have those playlists. They're fantastic. And the this is the first Taylor Swift album that hit me exactly where it should, I think, of like every other Taylor Swift album I've loved and I've enjoyed listening to them and stuff like that. But I was at a place in my life with this one that I could relate to, and maybe not in that moment relate to, but of like I could relate to a lot of the situations that she was singing about. And because I've lived a lot more than I had in the past and stuff like that. And I was going through a lot of burnout at school at the time. And so it was one of those, this is the first album that I think I listened to this album and like, because everybody's talking about like, oh yeah, I just play the album on repeat. And I'm like, I've never done that for anybody, even not even just Taylor, but I'm like, for anybody, I've been like, that was a good album. Cool. And then I'll be like, all right, I'm going to listen to like one or two songs that I'm just like, I can listen to these ones on repeat, but like the whole album, I just don't. And it's not that I don't like it. It's just like, nope, I'm not in the mood or whatever. But for some reason, this album clicked with me and I listened to it on just going through all the songs and went on repeat. And so like, that's where I'm like, I don't know, I might have just like that. There's my true fire, my true step into Swiftiedom of like, everybody else is like, oh yeah, I listened to it nonstop. I'm like, I couldn't do that. This one, I could, and I still could. That's the thing. Like, I had to make a conscious choice of like, I want to actually listen to like audiobooks and listen to different music and podcasts because I'm just like, this album is so good. And I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know if it's like the best lyrically or the best like sonically or whatever, but like it is to me, this album has the most emotion that she's put forth.
Hands down.
And it connects. And so to me, this was an amazing connection back to Folklore and Evermore, because I felt those two were also like very emotional albums, where Midnight's, I was like, it's a good album. Not my favorite, but to me, it was just kind of like, yep, back to the poppy. All right, yes, this is about my life, but also everybody can just kind of dance to this, versus this is my life. And this is the Eras Tour. And this album had me doing a lot of self-reflecting on what she was singing about, because I will say I Can Do It With a Broken Heart very differently than almost every other person I know who sung it and who does it. Because when I listen to it, like, it's very poppy, it's very energetic, but that's the point of it. And to me, she's kind of calling out her fans and in a rightful way, because she had to do the Eras Tour with an absolute broken heart, and she had to pretend everything was fine. Like, you never saw her crying. You had the people, and again, I think this is a problem of like, anytime somebody would be analyzing her face, and like if she had a tear in her eye or something, it'd be like, oh my gosh, she's crying over Joe. Oh my gosh, she's crying. Like, and so like she had to have this perfect face and couldn't feel the emotions that were going on in through her soul. And so I was very critical, and I still am critical of people who use that song as just like, yeah, this is a cool song, or this is a song about like mental health and stuff like that. I'm like, this isn't a good song. Like, I Can Do It With a Good Heart, Broken Heart. You shouldn't have to. And I think that's where I take it differently than a lot of other people who are like, yeah, you're powerful, you're a boss. I'm like, you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to force through things. You should be able to take the time you need. You should be able to have the proper mental health that you need to do what needs to be done. So I'm going to pop off my soapbox there. But I'm just like, I just feel like that is the big one that I'm like, and again, one of my absolute favorite songs on the entire album, Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. Just, oh, so good.
Yes.
Also, her singing that song at the Eras Tour is the inspiration for our cover art. So
yes.
That is an important thing I wanted to bring up.
Yes. Yeah. The iconic poses she does singing Who's Afraid of Little Old Me is how we posed Taylor Swift in our little logo graphic.
So, yeah. So I'll hop off my soapbox there, but this album got me thinking a lot and got me processing a lot, and and so I know there were a lot of people that were mad that they didn't get to see TTPD performed because we saw the Eras tour
right before
and
TTPD.
before Torture Poets Department came out, and a lot of people were mad that they had gone before it had come out, and they're like they missed it. And while I do really enjoy Tortured Poets Department, I understand the removal of songs that she had to do because she can't extend the
No.
she can't extend the thing. I'm actually pleased with the songs that we got, and so, and I mean I've seen a lot of fan footage, and I would not be surprised if there might be when the tour is officially over, if she updates the Taylor the Disney Plus Eras tour thing. I wouldn't be super surprised, but also maybe not. I mean, it's just for those people who got to enjoy it, and that's the thing. Sometimes that happens, and you can't be mad at them. I'm happy for all those people that got to enjoy that.
Right.
I mean, it's just so cool.
I also it is creating those experiences, and we know that's something that Taylor values, is wanting to create experiences and connections with fans like that. Yeah.
So, as you can tell, I guess this is an album that hits us in a very big chord.
Yeah,
because we're still talking about the album and our experiences, and haven't even started about talking about Leia, and we're almost 20 minutes in. So
and that's okay.
That's all right. So we can maybe extend the episode a little bit, but I'm going to throw it off back to you, Sarah, and you can tell us, because we all know your pick, and it is Cassandra. How did you see Cassandra and Leia?
Yes. So the too long didn't read version is all of the reasons that you picked Mad Woman, I picked Cassandra. So to me, this is like one of the, like, I jumped for joy when I saw that Taylor put these two together, because like, Alex doesn't know this at this point, but all of the reasons that he picked Mad Woman in that episode on folklore is the exact same reasons why I picked Cassandra.
Yeah.
So we're focusing then on Leia in Claudia Gray's novel Bloodline, and going a little bit then into the sequel trilogy. So Leia and a small group of senators are in the book Bloodline, investigate and try to warn the New Republic about impending attacks and the threat of the First Order, which is rising within their ranks and right under their nose. And the whole New Republic Senate discredit her because no one wants to hear this news, and also because it comes out during the course of Bloodline, her true lineage, that she is the daughter of Darth Vader, and that causes galactic scandal. And so, but then the First Order ends up destroying the New Republic, and Leia was right, and no one comes to help her. So, all right, going line by line through as to why I picked it. I was in my new house placing daydreams, patching up the cracks along the wall. I pass it and lose track of what I'm saying, because that's where I was when I got the call. So Leia is the leader of the New Republic. She's trying to build a better life, but then some actions around the galaxy are bringing up the old war wounds. They're kind of poking at that struggle is going to come. So she's starting to see the cracks form, that her fight's not over yet. When the first stone's thrown, they're screaming. In the streets, there's a raging riot. When it's burn the witch, they're shrinking. When the truth comes out, it's quiet. So throughout Bloodline, Leia is hated for her continued investigations into the rise of the First Order and for being the daughter of Darth Vader. She's called a liar for admitting the truth, and she's held accountable for Vader's actions. But then when the New Republic is destroyed, no one comes to help her. So they killed Cassandra first because they feared the worst and tried to tell the town. So they set my life in flames. I regret to say, do you believe me now? Leia does step down from the Senate in the New Republic, but is more or less kind of forced out, which to me is kind of a form of killing her or silencing her. The Senate destroyed her life and set it in flames, particularly with the news about Darth Vader, because she never told Ben about that. So that's how Ben found out that his grandfather's Darth Vader, which I'm like, that's a whole other issue, but it's a big issue. It's dramatic. Next line, I was weaving I was in my tower weaving nightmares, twisting all my smiles into snarls. They say what doesn't kill you makes you aware. What happens if it becomes who you are? So Leia is getting frustrated by the whole thing, by all of the fighting. She has to steel herself and go out on her own and form the resistance with no support. They knew the whole time that I was on to something. Some of the key senators from other political parties were deep into the corruption and were threatened by Leia uncovering some of the stuff, so everybody knew that this was happening. Blood's thick, but nothing like a payroll, but they never spared a prayer for my soul. The senators are bribing each other and the crime syndicates throughout Bloodline 2 and all of this corruption, so that's a big payroll. You can mark my words that I said it first in a morning warning and no one heard. And that kind of wraps it up, that she was blowing the whistle. She was trying to say, we need to go back into this fight. We need to nip this in the bud before it becomes a full-scale war, and no one believed her. And then the whole New Republic system goes up in flame.
Very nice.
Thank you.
So, forewarning, everybody who hasn't read the book Bloodlines, you are going to be totally lost because this whole episode is about that.
Hey, but you also, you should go read it because it's a really good book.
It is a good book, but just giving you that fair warning because my pick is The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, and I had hinted in the past that it's not going to be who you think. So, I'm going to actually start this off as an interesting thought. Who do you think I think is the smallest man who ever lived?
Ransom.
No.
No?
No, the smallest man who ever lived is Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker.
What?
So this is Leia's feelings about Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker and her biological parentage.
Okay, you gotta share.
Explain it. I will explain it. No, this is good. So to start off the chorus, and I don't even want you back. I just want you to know, if rusting my sparkling summer was the goal, and I don't miss what we had, but could someone give a message to the smallest man who ever lived? So this is Leia after it was revealed to the Senate that she is the biological daughter of Vader. He has tarnished her reputation from the grave, taking away her chance to become the first senator and hurting her relationship with her real father, Bail Organa, because she again is processing what he left and things like that. She despises Vader for the wickedness and evil he did to the galaxy. She cannot get over it, as Luke has been able to do, because this is still 20 years after Return of the Jedi, and she finds out that Vader is her father in Return of the Jedi. So she's unable to get past it. You hung me on your wall, stabbed me with your push pins, in public showed me off. This is Vader torturing his own daughter, not knowingly, but it still scared Leia to the point that she can't accept that he was her father. He also wanted to use her as an example of what is done to rebel spies and wanted to show the public the consequences. Then I have, because once your queen had come, you treat her like an also-ran. You didn't measure up in any measure of a man. She was the Princess of Alderaan, the queen in waiting, and Vader treated her horribly. He does not measure up to any measure of the man or father that Bail Organa was. Then, were you sent by someone who wanted me dead? Did you sleep with a gun? Let me finish. Did you sleep with a gun underneath our bed? Were you writing a book? Were you a sleeper cell spy? So Vader was sent by the Emperor to kill Leia and find the spies for the rebellion. He had his own sleeper cell spies trying to find her and finally was able to capture her in A New Hope. And you'll confess why you did it, and I'll say good riddance, because it wasn't sexy once it wasn't forbidden. I would have died for your sins. Instead, I just died inside. You deserve prison, but you won't get time. So Vader confesses and turns back to the light for atonement. He tells Luke to tell his sister that he was right about him. Leia doesn't care because she would have died fighting all of the evil he performed. She died inside each time she had to order soldiers to fight and to die for the rebellion. Vader deserved prison, but won't ever get time because he died. And everyone feels he got his redemption. He never had to answer for any of his atrocities. And last piece, in plain sight you hid, but you are what you did. And I'll forget you, but I'll never forgive the smallest man who ever lived. And this is again, Leia continues to grapple with the ramifications of her having her biological father being one of the worst war criminals in the galaxy. She must deal with whether there is an inherent darkness in her, or can she make her own destiny?
All right. I think you convinced me. I wasn't quite so sure. Especially because I would have died for your sins, but instead I died inside. And it's just like Leia wouldn't come to Vader's aid in any way, but she is trying to erase his
sins.
Yeah, erase his mark on the galaxy, and she would have died herself multiple times over and over again.
If she could have, yes.
Yeah.
But then she had to die inside because she had to take the leadership role and tell people to go die for her.
Right. And to live with the loss. And to live
that loss
with
and that guilt. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's a surprise.
Yeah.
But what's the line that Palpatine says? A welcome surprise?
A surprise for sure, but a welcome one.
There we go. Thank you. I'm glad you can do that. So I like that pick. I just want to say I took one of those for funsies BuzzFeed quizzes
Okay.
for Leia for, I think it was, which TTPD song are you? And I can fix him. No, really, I can. The explanation they give is you always try to see the good in people and think that people can change. You have too much faith in men.
I mean, I don't like the men piece. I think she does have faith in people.
And she wants to try to see the good, but she also knows that people can't change. She makes that comment about multiple people of you can't change his mind for him, or the whole thing that you were talking about with Vader. She herself doesn't want to change her mind on it. So to me,
I think that's a poor choice.
Especially for that explanation.
Exactly.
I mean, listeners, if you think it's a great fit for Leia, shout out, tell us what you think.
Yeah. No, I think that's I will say that's the trouble we're going to have with Torture Poets Department is there's so many songs that fit. And it's narrowing that one selection down because Cassandra fit perfectly. I think this one fit perfectly. There's a couple others that I'm I could have easily put.
Yeah, they were on a short list.
There was it's the short list. It's narrowing it down of who is going to work. And so that's where I think why, because it's works for everyone. That's why I've gone through and I'm pretty much done with all of my Torture Poets Department songs for who we have in our future seasons, at least the selection of, because I was I need to know what's going where in order to be all right, this one doesn't work and this one only works for this character. And so then I have to come back. So
yeah, because we're trying not to do repeats.
Right.
At least for our first handful of seasons.
Correct.
We'll have to repeat eventually.
Eventually, yes. But
yeah. Well, that's exciting. Thank you for talking TTPD with me. Thank you for talking Leia with me. And I'm really looking forward to our next episode, which will be our season finale. We're going to kind of take a long view of our playlists that we've basically created here with Leia. So I'm going to take a look at all 11 songs that I picked for Leia. Alex will take a look at his, and we'll kind of have a discussion about that and then tee you off for season 2.
Yep, so that will be coming out at the beginning of the year. That'll be our first episode of the year, is our season finale.
Yeah, it works.
It does. Yeah, no, it'll work fine. It'll work fine.
Yeah, I'm excited to take a long view with this.
I'm intrigued. We'll see. Yeah, I'm interested. I mean, to me, it's going to be similar to what we talked about at the con, which is going to be fun because that was just a lot of discussing our picks and stuff like that. But now we actually get to talk about who we focused on, the spaces, what character piece we focused on with Leia. So yeah, it'll be a lot of fun discussing.
Yes. Alrighty. I think that wraps it up for this episode.
All right. Please check us out at you're obviously listening to us now, but any podcast episode, go listen to our previous episodes. Check us out on any podcasting app. You can find us on Instagram and Threads at Sand Hurts My Feelings Pod. Then you can also find us on Blue Sky, which is Sandy Feelings, Blue Sky. And you can send us an email at thesandhurtsmyfeelingspod@gmail.com. And you can find us on Facebook at the Sand Hurts My Feelings podcast. Anything else?
We also have a Redbubble store. You can check out Sandy Feelings.
Oh, there you go. That's right. We have Redbubble now. And so, yeah, if you want to buy any of our designs and stuff like that, go check that out. I'll put the link in the episode in the show notes down below and check it out there. Awesome. And may the force be with you.
Forever and always.
May the force be with you.
Forever and always.